Hello out there. This is Temitope. The last time I spoke, I said I was going to write a letter to President Tinubu. And I've met a lot of people challenging me and asking, where's that letter? You said you will write President Tinubu and you put a copy out there for us to read. We have been looking forward to your letter. And I said, oh, don't worry. We are not much in a hurry. President Tinubu is actually doing well. Like Dr. Konjo Iweala said, he has stabilized the economy and the economy is moving in the right direction. However, in my own view, moving in the right direction is one thing. Moving at the appropriate speed in that direction is another thing. And driving with proper shock absorbers is yet another thing. Well, I wish the president all the best. I wish the president good luck, actually. And I wish Nigerians good luck. That was the title of my book 14 years ago. I wrote, fellow Nigerians, I wish you good luck. And I think I still have some copies out there for people who might want, but that is not essentially the basic thing at this time. I am doing another book and I wanted to make sure that I send a copy of that book to the president along with the letter I'm writing. So it's, the book is titled Broken Hedges and Intelligence Gaps. I'm going to, put a link to the book in the video. So the book is not yet, finished. We still have a long way to go with, the processing. So, that was delaying the letter. So if I've not put out the book there or put a copy of the letter out there, it's the book that is actually delaying it. Now, it's not everything that we should politicize. I think the Nigerian social media space is often divided. You are Chelsea and Man U, you are Obedient and Baptist, you are Hela and Wailer. Life is not always in black and white. It's not always split into, a dichotomy. We can work together. We can look at issues together in a progressive way. Now, I am someone that likes to criticize things, not because I want to pull those things down, but because I want the best. I want to bring out the best of it. I've been a fan of President Goodluck Jonathan. I wrote a book in his interest. I took the book to him. I met him. We took photographs together, but I was also a critic. If I see something that is not doing well, I would say this aspect needs adjustment. And that is the same thing I've done for every president after Dr. Goodluck Jonathan. I wrote, as I said before, a 30-page letter to the late President Muhammadu Buhari. And I'm planning to write this president, but it's not to pull him down. It's not to attack him. It's just to draw his attention to things he may have overlooked. So please be patient with me. Once the book is done and out there, I would send copies of the book together with my letter to him. And then we can begin to discuss the contents of the letter. And beyond that, there's something I noticed recently. I think there have been this talk about foreign exchange reserves increasing under President Tinubu. People are saying, oh, that's the highest it's been since 1999. Good. But I don't think we, the public, have much understanding of how foreign currency reserves work. It's just a tool of trade by the central bank. It's not a government money. It's not like this government. Whenever we mention foreign reserves, most of us think it is some unspent leftovers of government earnings that government has kept with central bank. They say, oh, why is the government borrowing? When you say you have 44 billion and you are borrowing, can't you just take out of the 44 billion? But that's not how it works. The foreign currency reserves are a central bank asset to manage and regulate trade, especially trading with other countries. You see, the way the foreign exchange system works, every importer would want the exchange rate to be lower, because the lower the exchange rate, the cheaper the goods become in your local currency. For example, if the dollar became 100 naira tomorrow, importers will be happy. They'll be excited. They want to import more things. And the reverse is for exporters. Every exporter wants the exchange rates to go to fall as far as possible. And it doesn't matter if this is finished goods. It could be services. For example, if you're a content creator and they said the dollar is becoming 3,000 naira per dollar, you'll be happy. You are exporting a service. You are exporting digital content. But if you are paying for web hosting, if you are paying for software from overseas, you are importing. So you want it to be lower as much as possible, the rate versus your naira or so. So the thing here is that those two forces trade against each other. Importers want lower, they want the dollar to exchange for a lower figure to the naira. Exporters want the bigger naira value for the, so when they trade, they don't always trade at an equilibrium, because in some months, the demand for imports is larger than the supply of the exports. So the central bank keeps the currency reserves to regulate things so that the exchange rates can be as stable as possible. That is the purpose of the currency reserves. So it has nothing to do with how well the government is performing or how good the economy has become. Now, let me point out to you. Currently, the foreign reserves of Nigeria is bigger than that of Germany, is bigger than even that of the United States. The United States has a foreign reserves of just $35 billion equivalent. And Germany has about that, less than 40 billion. But Nigeria has 44 billion. So what are we saying? Are we saying that our economy has become bigger and better than that of Germany or that of the United States? No. It's about the trade, the balance of the trade, the supplies. You see, and the thing that is making the foreign reserves of Nigeria grow at this time, let me tell you, is because aggregate imports are falling. And why are the aggregate imports falling? It's not because domestic production has increased. It's because Nigerians are facing hardship. They don't have money to buy as many things that are foreign produced as they have been buying. So take, for example, used cars. Some cheap Toyota Corollas you used to buy for maybe 1.5 million, 2 million have become maybe 9 million, 10 million. So people are not buying, they are not buying imported products as much as before. Like, look, for example, when was the last time you opened a tin of sardine? Because the price has increased and the demand for it has fallen. So we now have a system in which we are importing less and maybe the exports are growing on the balance of it. So there's a supply of available foreign currencies with the central bank that importers are not able to absorb because there's a reduced demand. And, if tomorrow, let's just assume, there's an increase in salaries across board for all government workers and everybody in the public sector, such that everybody now has more naira on them, and you see, they want to buy things. And most of these things are imported. from jeans to toothpick to to toothbrush to whatever you think. And the more they import, the more pressure it will put on the exchange rate. But the central bank keeps a supply of foreign currencies to manage the balance between the importers and the exporters. You don't just want to leave it to them to totally market-driven exchange rate. Because when you allow the market alone to determine without the intervention of the central bank, as we have seen in the last 2 years, you will see that the rates can rapidly go from 700 to almost 2,000. And if you leave it, it might continue falling until it becomes unbearable for importers. But at some point, the central bank will have to augment the supply of foreign currencies in the market, in the Forex market, so as to stabilize the rate. That is all there is about the foreign exchange reserves. And you see, for example, it depends on how much the country is importing, the aggregate imports. Let me tell you, China has a foreign currency reserve, I think something above $3 trillion, about $3.2 trillion. But it can only cover about 11 months or 14 months of imports. Our own 40 billion or 44 billion could go about 10 months of imports. The United States 35 billion can cover only 3 days of imports. But the US is not bothered because they have a steady supply of Forex from exporters. Is a major exporting country. So there is no big reason to keep a large supply of foreign currencies just because you need to fulfill the demands of importers. So it's not a thing to stress about. Let me make some analogies. Suppose you walked into a canteen and the restaurant owner is telling you, I have 20 bags of rice in the store. It used to be 12 bags of rice. What would you need that information for? It's not your headache. I want to just buy a plate of rice from you and eat. I'm not bothered how many bags of rice you have in store. The person that might want to worry about how many bags of rice you have in store is somebody that maybe has a contract of daily supplies from you. And if there is scarcity of rice out there such that this person is thinking, oh, there might come some days in which I want to buy rice for my workers and you won't have. That's the person you need to reassure about the number of bags of rice you have in store. As far as I am concerned, I just want to order a plate of fried rice and get out. It doesn't matter to me whether you have 20 bags of rice in store or 200. Your rice reserve does not matter to me. So the central bank's foreign currency reserve is not your headache. It's not a thing to make politics about. It was bigger under Jonathan. It was smaller under Buhari. It's now biggest under Tinubu. All trash. Trash talk. It's not your headache. What you should focus on is the rate. The rate is what affects you depending on which side of the trade you are, whether you're an importer or you're an exporter, and the sustainability of the rate for planning purposes. Planning is important. If I want to order something from, let's say Germany, and at the time I'm ordering, the dollar is 1.5, and I already told customers this thing will be sold for 15 million. But by the time it arrives, the dollar has crashed to 2.5. I will have a difficult time selling this thing. So I'm not able to predict, and then I'll start putting arbitrary prices and all that. But if If it is relatively stable, then I can plan well, I can market well. That is the essential thing about the foreign currency reserves. And mind you, the central bank can build up the reserves at any time, but it will affect other things. Tomorrow, the central bank might decide that, okay, they want to build the reserve to 60 billion. They will just have to buy it. It's not that the government is necessarily earning more. You buy it. It's a trade. So the foreign currency reserves is just how much of currency of other countries the central bank decides to keep at a particular point. And they use that to strategically intervene in the foreign currency market. So stop bothering yourself about it. It's not an indication of how well the economy is performing. The things we want to look at are how are the real wages in the country? How is the growth? How is the foreign direct investment? How is the ease of doing business? That's what should matter. Your foreign currency reserves can go from 44 to 22 in just a week if the central banks decide to offload. Of course, they can do that if they want to crash the exchange rate. So it's purely none of your business, really. Focus on what matters. Focus on production. Focus on business. Focus on your earnings. And stop wasting your time arguing about foreign currency reserves. Thank you.